is this situation, even though you're living with it, is it more so in the rearview mirror, or is it something that you feel that is always on your mind and you're always carrying with you, even though you're here, maybe probably stronger than you were back then? And I mean, from a physical standpoint.
Yeah, it's definitely something that it's not, I like to think of myself as a healthy person because I have so many challenges health wise. It stays top of mind. Everything I put in my mouth, from a sip of water to, a pudding, has a chance to wreak just complete havoc on my system. So I only eat about 4 or 5 foods consistently. And I do my best to try new foods. Mostly that's not a good experience, but I try. And, it's very interesting, when you have diabetes, like I do, insulin dependent, you're always watching your sugars, and your sugars are going high and low, and it's just constant management. So what I would say is it's definitely in the front of my mind to manage it, but that's so that I can live every day to the fullest with these diseases, as opposed to thinking of myself as a sick person who all I do is manage disease.
And I like that you mentioned that your view of yourself hasn't changed, meaning that you're a healthy person going through this instead of I'm an unhealthy person, woe is me. Not to look down on it, but sometimes we do, right? Like sometimes we do when we go through something, we say, oh, I try to live my life and now I'm just this unhealthy, overweight, balding. Like we make up this in our mind, right?
Yeah.
To tear ourselves down. But words are so powerful. And the fact that you'll get yourself as a healthy person who's just going through this, similar to me, I may be a healthy person that is going through as diabetic. I may be a healthy person that has an allergy to cucumbers. Whatever the situation is, we should still try to navigate ourselves in the best positive light. And with you, when it comes to the food, because these days it seems like everyone's a foodie, right? Everyone
Oh, right.
loves food.
Yeah.
Is that hard for you to only have 4 or 5 different foods? And when you know that you want to try something else, there's always that thought, my body might not accept this.
It's interesting. I describe it as a fear of food. So I've been on 7 feeding tubes in the last 5 years. And when I'm on a feeding tube, typically I can't even have water. So it's just like air is my only option. And so I'm actually grateful that I'm not on a feeding tube, even though I can only eat 4 or 5 foods. I'm just happy that I can eat those and stay nourished. Um, it is confronting to try new foods because I have such bad responses to them sometimes. But I look at it as, you don't know unless you try. So you've got to try something new. I think the other thing that's really interesting is I can eat something for like 3 months and have no problems. And then one day my body just won't take it anymore. Like I was eating sweet potato puree like once a day. And all of a sudden, like a month after I was doing that, I just started throwing it up every time I ate it. So it's like my body builds up this attack against foods. And so I'm just grateful I have the 4 or 5 I have. So I'm not on a feeding tube again.
I was that way with broccoli and celery. I used to eat broccoli, not broccoli, sorry, cauliflower. I used to be
Mhm.
that way with cauliflower. I used to eat it with every meal. Then one day I ate it, I threw up, and I thought it was just undercooked. Right. And
Try it again.
then try it again. Same thing. I went to I did an allergy test. I have a very mild allergy to celery now and cauliflower. So I have an idea of what you're going through, where sometimes you've been eating something for so long, and then all of a sudden it just doesn't agree with you anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a change that we have to make. And on the note of making changes, I know you mentioned that career wise, you had to make quite the change. How was that experience? Because that seems to be that it happened at the height, if I remember correctly, of your situation.
Yeah. So I was a corporate executive with Sears Holdings, so Sears and Kmart, running all social, mobile, and their online customer care center for a number of years. And then I was given an opportunity here in Indianapolis to be a chief digital marketing officer for a massive home services company. And so I took that on, and I was only in that role maybe 6 months when my pancreas went to heck and back. And I started ending up with a lot of hospital stays. So it was very confronting because I had spent my whole life building up to get to that C-suite position in corporate America and enjoy all the benefits that come with it, you know, all the big salary and working hard to bonuses and leading a team. And I mean, I really worked so hard for that. And to just have it kind of taken away from you. The company I was with didn't respond all that well to having somebody with health challenges. And so we parted ways. And I still struggled, I will say, for years thinking, I want to go back to corporate America. I really want to do this. And I had opened my own social media marketing agency the month I separated from the company. And I will tell you the interesting thing about that is I was so motivated to stay working and to stay with my clients that I was working in the hospital. I was bedridden for a long time. I was working from bed. Of course, that was pre-COVID, so no one was on Zoom all the time. You could do that. Now it's a lot harder, but I'm healthier. But I had a really hard transition. I felt really like I was losing my career and losing part of my identity, because that's how I had defined success and that's how I had defined everything. And so, I mean, I put my career above everything. I don't have children except for my little fur baby and a stepdaughter now. I mean, I really threw everything into my career. So it was very confronting and I would say very difficult. But now I have the opportunity to do my own schedule. So for example, I work really early in the morning, like 5 or 6 a.m. until about 2:30 p.m. And then I crack off and maybe I come back on at 7:30 p.m. if I have the energy. But you can't do that in a corporate environment. You know, they're scheduling meetings at 4 p.m. and I have no energy. I need to be napping. And so I have full control over my calendar. And I've got a team around me that I've hired that is just the best support team. And so they step in on days that are really bad and I can't attend a meeting. They step in and take over.